Welcome to the show that takes you inside the gift shop of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Balloon Fiesta stuff online. And now, here's your host, Art Lloyd Jr.
Hi, I'm Art Lloyd Jr., and this is Balloon Fiesta stuff online. Today, we're talking with our merchandise team, manager Lisa Mulder and assistant manager Shani Cabatoni. So we just wrapped up the 50th anniversary big merchandise year. Lisa, Shani, tell us how it went.
I have been with Balloon Fiesta for 10 years, and nothing can describe how amazing a 50th anniversary is. Sales were great. They were off the charts. We probably had 3 times the amount of merchandise we've ever had, and it still wasn't enough. So that tells you how great this year was for Balloon Fiesta and for all of our guests.
I have never seen so many people lined up for our merchandise tents. It was insane. I think we had probably the best selection we've ever had, and a really wide selection of just different products for everybody.
So let's talk about Balloon Fiesta stuff. How big a staff do you guys have? How do you manage this, not only during the event, but also during the entire year?
It's funny that you should say that because people think we're a huge outfit and we can do all of this and have all of this and manage this. There is Johnny and I, 2 of us, that pretty much plan year round and purchase all of the items. We have a gift shop staff of 3 to 4 people. We have a warehouse manager, and that's it. And then during the event, we hire some nonprofit groups to actually benefit from helping us sell our items. And so we rely on those people, and of course our navigators, our volunteers that help us during the event to run all of this. So in the scheme of how huge our event is, that staffing is actually very small.
We have our gift shop come in usually around June, May or June. We have 1 or 2. And as things start picking up, we bring in the 3rd person, and then when it gets really close, we'll bring in a 4th person, but we pretty much do most of it on our own.
So what's the process that you go through to select merchandise that you're going to offer for sale at any particular time or any particular year?
We actually start looking at everything that did really well for the current Balloon Fiesta, and we start that process right after the event is over. Sometimes on certain items like pins, we've already started as soon as we get our theme for the next year. We've started that process when it comes to product. We look at the sales, we look at what has done best, what's been most popular, and then we start from there. So we're hitting the ground running definitely by November 1st, looking for product and pricing and designs for next Balloon Fiesta.
Yep.
Even though 2022 hasn't been closed out yet, when we talk about this year's product, we're already on the next Balloon Fiesta.
Why so early?
Because of supply and demand.
We really have to make sure that everything is ordered in a timely fashion just because of where our suppliers are. And there's a whole slew of things that have to happen prior to. We have to get artwork drawn up, and of course that usually takes several different tweaks and figure out colors and that kind of stuff. And then once that's done, then we have to have mock-ups. And sometimes you'll look at something and, oh, that's going to look great, and then you get the mock-up and not so much. So then you kind of have to go back and do those tweaks. And so it's a big process that we have to go through just in creating. And then once that's created, then we look at ordering what color t-shirt and what type of t-shirt, and is that going to be available in time? Do we have the right amounts? And there's a lot that goes into just the supply of what we have.
Well, and the other thing that we have to keep in mind is Balloon Fiesta is actually a nonprofit. So there are steps that we have to take to get our budget approved so we can start that ordering process. So that's why the numbers from the current Balloon Fiesta are so important, because we need to take that sales data and turn it over to the board and to those that we need to ask basically for the next year's information and give them that status on what we need to buy. So there's a whole process that's involved there in order for us to even start the ordering. We never stop. I mean,
No.
it's constant. We are looking for new designs, new ideas, asking for recommendations from, board and staff and navigators and even customers on what they would like to see for the next year. It takes a while when it comes down to, are we able to produce something domestically? Do we need to produce an item overseas? I will say that a lot of our items do come from overseas because we've got some great factories that have worked with us for years and have been very dedicated. And they know what we expect and the quality that Balloon Fiesta wants in their products. We found that it's very difficult to restock during the event. And a lot of times if we try to restock after, the event is now done and the following isn't as huge. So we tend to just let the items sell out and start working on a new thing. I know it's hard for those people that really want that piece that they really saw at Balloon Fiesta or that their grandmother got that they just have to have. But because our supply is event driven and because it's dated and it's theme related, it's not generally something that we work on to restock that same item. It's time to move on and bring in something new and fun. And we're really working on trying to bring in an undated, fun, exciting, colorful Balloon Fiesta stuff product line that we can have for you year round. So you can still get those items for birthdays and Christmas.
So one of the things that came up in our survey was the idea of some people thought the prices were a little high. How would you address that?
What we had planned for when we had looked at what we were going to be doing, we had planned for about a 10% increase. And actually, where we saw about a 30% increase in just our price, in our wholesale price, and that was a bit of a sticker shock for us. Mm-hmm. So we try very hard to keep the prices low enough for everybody to be able to enjoy, but we do still have to, I mean, this is a nonprofit, and what we make in a year puts on the event for next year.
The supply and demand this year really pushed our pricing. As Shawnee said, we were expecting a 10% increase and we're hit with a 30% increase. We've also seen prices rising over the last few years. So it wasn't even just this year. We tried to keep our pricing flat for our customers, but this year we just really didn't have to. So we didn't pass on the full 30% increase because I know everybody is struggling this year, but we had to pass on some. So if we had a $25 t-shirt last year, it went up to $30 this year. So at least it wasn't the full 30%. And unfortunately, with the supply and demand, I don't think it's not going to get any better.
So let's just take that example. A $30 t-shirt, if you stop at that point, sounds expensive. Mm-hmm. But is it that expensive because you're buying more limited quantities, because they're more custom? You're not a big box that's buying 10 million of these. Is that got something to do with this?
It completely does. I mean, everybody says Balloon Fiesta is huge, but not everyone that comes to Balloon Fiesta is going to go into our tent and buy official product. So the most of one item that we will really purchase is usually 1,000 or less. So when you have that quantity, we really don't have the negotiation power to be able to bring that pricing as low as some people can see it at Walmart or at Target. And again, that comes down to the fact that we're event driven. It's just like going to a concert. Unfortunately, you're going to that concert, it's a one-time thing. You're going to end up paying more because it's just for us, just for that time frame. And even 1,000 is a lot. But if we can go overseas and get some of that from the factories that we work with, then we're able to keep our pricing lower. People do need to keep in mind that a lot of the domestic pricing is 2 to 3 times higher. So that $30 shirt, if we didn't go and create it and make it on our own, could be so much more. And that's not fair to the consumer. And there's no way we want to put out a product that's that expensive.
Next week, we'll look at shipping prices and what's on tap for 2023. I'm Art Lloyd Jr.
Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Stuff online. Be sure to visit and bookmark our online store at balloonfiestastuff.com. And for more information on the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta itself, visit balloonfiesta.com.